Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Role Playing Public Radio. It is me, your host, God's most special princess and the most interesting girl in the world. My pronouns are she, her. My name is Bridget. This is, what is this, episode 10 of Drow and Dracoliches? I don't even know, honestly. Yeah, this will be episode 10 of Drow and Dracoliches. I was right on the money. This is right before New Year's Eve. So you can think about how different your life is now from when we began recording this. As always, I have my three favorite players with me. If you want to go ahead and reintroduce yourself in Discord order and remind us what character you're playing.
Faye, I am playing Rushk, and you know the rest.
I'm Rachel, I'm playing Daelia and Valsa, and problems. Lots of problems.
Hey, I'm Lydia, and I'm playing Xastra Telarr, Drow Paladin of Eilistraee, who has never made any mistakes, never had any problems, and is perfect in every way.
I think maybe that's a bit of a misrepresentation.
I don't know.
Oh, it's
Sounds good to me.
I feel like there's some biases at play here, but hopefully we'll educate our players as to the result of those after the session today. Who wants to remind us what happened last episode?
I can do this.
And
Yeah, all right, I'll let you have one more shot at it.
We met the biggest spider, found out about some Shar worshippers, had a nice dinner, and then everything went to shit.
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You want to add some subtlety and context for us, Faye?
I'm gonna pass this to Rachel. I did it last time. You know.
Oh, God.
Let's see what Dahlia's version of events is.
My brain is Swiss cheese. Oh boy. All of us went to go meet with another ruling class member, or I guess ruling class is the wrong word, another section of the parliament here. We went to go see, it was the Veil Loyalists, the Peacekeepers, and the Guild Arcana. The Peacekeepers, that was Xastra went, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Xastra went to the Peacekeepers, who want some kind of temple, which I cannot remember. And Rushk went to go talk to Tultree. And then Daelia went to go talk to spellcasters, who ended up just being Loth, who's just hanging out down here. And then by the time we all there was some inter-party conflict between Rushk and Xastra talking through some things, which did not get resolved. And then eventually we went to go have dinner, and a bunch of something. Was it army was coming to attack? Is that what it was?
There was explosions.
Oh, explosions. Yes.
Yeah, that's when everything went to shit.
All right, very good, very good. So that's where we're picking up right now. You are
Yay.
in a tense-ish dinner. No idea what's going on. But the drow you're eating with immediately, they have jobs to do when explosions happen. And one of those is to get Niara to a safer place in the house. What do the rest of you want to do?
Go see what's going on?
Yeah, I think Rushk was in the process of going to see what the source of that noise was.
Yeah.
Okay, so you head out onto the grounds of the Sapphire Star, and you have a really good view from here, seeing as it's the top of Darelift. Out in the swirling mass of water that surrounds the base of the giant stalagmite that is Darelift, you can see a strange raft made of bones. It is quite large based on the distance between you and here. It's hard to make out what's on it because you're pretty far away, but it is easy to see into the lower district of Darelift, where there is something crawling out of the water.
Oh boy.
Up the edges of the structure of Darelift, and you can see and hear small-scale explosions near constantly.
Great.
As the things crawling out of the water detonate themselves against the structures of Darelift.
Cool.
Okay, great. So, are there any, I don't really know what the situation of fucking binoculars is in D&D. I realize that that's such an oversight on my part. How do we see things that are far away?
Spyglass?
Spyglass.
All right. If we're at a guard post,
spyglass.
if we're at a guard post, do they have a spyglass I could use?
They absolutely have a guard post
Okay,
with spyglass here.
Let's get a closer look at that snout. What the fuck is going on down there?
Okay, what do you want to look at first?
The explosions, like the things that are exploding.
So you can get a much better look at it with the spyglasses. They're Drow spyglasses, so they work very well. They're quite good lens makers, or they know somebody who can make good lenses.
Right.
And it's horrifying. There are disgustingly bloated corpses of drowned bodies pulling themselves out of the water with, like bone threaded hands, fingers at odd angles, legs barely working, writhing their way up out of the water surrounding Dereleft. And as soon as they get close to something living or a structure, they detonate immediately in a shower of gore and bone fragments. It is doing a considerable amount of damage to people. Not quite so much damage to structures, but it seems to be a very large number of them with no sign of slowing down.
Okay, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but based on how the city is structured, the people that would be first hit by this are the Free People's Union. Is that what it was?
The Free Union of Peoples, yes.
The Free Union of Peoples would be the first line. I mean, I want to say defense, but I don't really know.
First line of casualties, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So the thing in the water isn't our buddy Jurgle.
No, the thing in the water is not your buddy Jurgle. You do pan over to the bone raft as it is, and you see an unfamiliar drow woman apparently laughing wildly and rapidly gesticulating various spells.
Okay. If Daelia or Xastra are there, I'll tap their shoulder and hand them the spyglass and be like, "Who is that?"
Do I know who this is?
Yeah, you know who this is, as you're a paladin. This is the least favorite of the Dark Zeldarine, which is saying something because nobody likes. This is the drow god you pray to, not because you worship her, but because you want her to leave you alone.
Yep.
This is Kiransali, the drow god of undead.
We need to stop this right now.
On a scale
and she's going to run off.
Well, can I try and grab Xastra before she dashes off?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to roll for that, or do you want me to just go through it?
No, you can just do that.
Scale of 1 to 10, how bad?
Compared to all of the threats in the world? Like a 7?
Compared to the things... Oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Great.
Listen, Xastra, you're going to be our most useful tool here. Please assist the front line. The Free People's Union. Is that the Union of Free Peoples? Fuck me, why do I keep getting it mixed up? Go to Brash Vandal.
Already where I was headed.
Good. Tell her Rushk sent you. Tell her I'm going to be bringing reinforcements.
All right. She's going to quickly return to her chambers and grab her armor and the rest of her weapons and go.
Get outie.
Okay.
So this is the scenario that we're doing today. We're doing the defense of Dereleft. It's going to be in 4 phases, each centering on various locations important to Dereleft. All of you can do exactly one thing, which is not necessarily one action, but more like, this is my plan for how we are going to deal with this thing. And then I will have you just roll generally to see how well it goes. It'd be largely narrative because I don't want to do a bunch of one-on-one fights with a shit ton of zombies. That's way too slow. So we've entered the first phase, which is the defense of the body, the very, very middle, I guess, part of Dereleft, which is now the bottom of Dereleft, thanks to all the seawater. So I don't care who goes first, but what is your plan with dealing with the fact that there is a lot of undead crawling out of the faux sea surrounding Dereleft? And you can go get more information before you decide what you want to do. Because I know that Xastra is going. Where are you going?
My intention was to head as directly as possible to the coastline. Or new coastline, I guess.
And then I believe, Faye, did you say Rushk was doing something specific?
Yes. Before I go, I'm going to grab Dahlia's shoulder and say, do you need direction?
I'm mostly just wondering if I should go back to the Mage Guild and see what exactly is going on with that.
Going back to Lolth, then.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I can't imagine she's too happy about this.
I
I think
leave
this is a
that.
great idea.
I leave that decision in your hands. Just know that you will probably have to go alone because I can't imagine Vajra will be too keen on returning.
No, I just can't decide if it's a good idea or not. That's really the main thing.
Whatever you do, stay safe. And Rushk is going to run off.
You too. Okay.
So Xastra, I say that you'll probably make it down first. The situation in the body is much worse than you thought it was at first
Oh
glance.
boy.
The idea of undead exploding zombies is bad in and of itself, but now you see that that was only the most notable zombie that is present. There's actually 3 types crawling their
Oh
way out of the
boy.
water. The first is the severely bloated corpses, which just kind of wander around until they bump into thing and then explode like disgusting corpse grenades. Then there is your more bog standard zombie.
Oh my.
There is something done to the structure of them where it appears as though the body has been manipulated in such a way as to make their outsides very, very hard. So they are quite slow moving, but they're very resistant to like trying to be taken down with arrows or spears or the like. They are very strong if you get close to them, but they're very slow. So currently the strategy is most people are just running away from them. And then behind them are a thinner, very weirdly shambling sort of zombie. Their arms are pulled in and splayed at strange angles, and they kind of have this shuffling sort of step, like if you imagine a child on stilts, where they kind of make really, really halting sort of fast steps, and they're not very sturdy on their legs. You have not yet seen what those do.
Yeah, give me just 1 second to look at something.
Do you have Turn Undead, or is that solely a cleric thing?
I do remember that we had this exact
We had
no.
this
conversation.
session before, and nobody remembered.
Nobody has Turn Undead.
Oh, no.
Shira does.
Yeah,
What I'm
Shira
going to
does.
do- What I'm going to do is use the spell Moonbeam to cut a swath to wherever the
Ooh.
largest point of defense seems to be,
Moonbeam is so good.
to link
Okay.
up with the other defenders.
Okay, yeah. So you cast you draw the energy of Eilistraee, and the shining light emanating from your sword cuts a path through these zombies who just wilt under its touch. The good news is you've cleared a path to where you see Brash Vandal has organized a rudimentary defense. The bad news is the swath you cut closes, I won't say rapidly because they're zombies, but it's closing at a shambling pace.
Well,
Rushk, where are you? What are you doing?
The group in Dereleft that's like in quote unquote in charge of defense is the boys, right? The boys back in town are in charge of defense.
Yeah, the
The
boys are in
boys.
charge of the military arm of Dareleft.
Okay. And they also have Captolo at their house, right?
They do have Keptolo at their house.
All right. Well, I'm going to be paying the boys a visit.
Okay. When you get to one of the boys of like the in charge boys' house, you can see that they are nominally preparing for defense and mustering troops, but they don't seem very concerned about making their way to the body.
Yep.
They seem to be more worried about the defense of the Silver Stair and perhaps the defense of the Embrace, but not the body.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Does anyone look nominally in charge that I could speak to here?
Yeah, there's a... What is his name?
Or at least could I have somebody direct me to whoever is like the person here?
Yeah, so you met Tetherin, whoever went and came to talk to the advocacy party, but there is the High General Philin Everharn, who is currently barking orders and is dressed in what counts as full plate mail for Drow. He's got a, like a boob window.
A tasteful boob window. All right.
Tasteful boob window.
What would the proper way to refer to him be? Like, I don't know if High General. Pardon, High General. My name is Rushk. I'm a doctor. I'm with the Waterdeep emissaries. I believe you've spoken to one of my companions, Xastra Telarr. Forgive me for rushing through the proper decorum here, but as I'm sure you've noticed, things are rather dire. I came here in hopes to see that you would be sending aid to the front lines, but
I am organizing the defense of the front lines as we speak. Forgive me, but I'm very busy right now.
I see. And what remains to be organized?
We have to finish mustering the militia, some of which I have already sent to key defensive positions, and we are formulating an overall battle plan for the defense of Dereleft's citizens.
I see. And this, of course, includes the... What was it? Free People's Union of Free Peoples? One of these days I'll get it right.
Free Union of Peoples?
Free Union of Peoples.
Call them whatever you want.
Free People's Union.
I'm giving you... It's the Judean People's Front and the People's Front of Judea. It doesn't matter.
I have so
Free
many
Union
holes
of
in my
Peoples.
brain. All right. And this, of course, includes the Free Union of Peoples.
Yes, whichever ones can make it back to the defensive positions, here and here. And he points to a couple of choke points in the embrace, which is
So
middle of Daelia.
Yeah. So you have no intention then of defending the body?
I do not. It is much too large of an area, and we have too few soldiers. May I remind you that we have been in a constant state of conflict for nearly 150 years.
Perhaps then it's because you've made unwise military decisions that you have remained in conflict. Might I suggest that you assess the strategic, what's the word? The where the Free Peoples are is where all of the, like, eatable food is grown right now, right?
That's correct.
Should you lose the body, you will lose all of your food. Even if you retain the body, if too many undead pollute the area, you will lose your food. If you do not send individuals to reinforce it immediately, Dereleft will starve.
So he makes an argument back to you that he only has so many soldiers. So if he sends them all to die trying to defend the body, then it won't matter whether or not they have food. You're in a deadlock where you have a short-term winnable battle versus the long-term health of Dereleft.
Does it seem like...
You need to
Good.
convince him somehow if you want him to do what you want.
Does it seem like he even has any interest in assisting the people of the body?
How about I have you roll
Charisma? Or
Charisma?
Intelligence?
Yeah, let's
Just for
do
reading him?
intelligence. Intelligence, reading his emotions, how he seems.
It's a 5.
So yeah, he genuinely believes that his plan is the best plan. He does think that trying to defend the body is too large an area, so it'd be sort of a lost cause. It seems like a better idea to pile the soldiers up at the choke points for moving further up into Dereleft. However, the boys have been instrumental in working with the Free Union of Peoples in order to liberate Dereleft, like 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
So it's not like he is completely callous to their plight.
Okay.
However, that only extends to like people he is in command of directly. Like if you have to pull soldiers from like the Loth loyalists, they're not going to get
Yeah. No. Yeah. We dip back to me. I need a minute to think about what I want to do here.
Daelia, what are you doing?
Okay, based off of what I know, like, I don't know if this would be like religion or history or whatever, what would I know about Lolth's relationship with Kieran Saleh?
They hate each other.
Okay. Okay.
They hate each other. They have very little contact with each other.
Okay.
They both wish the other one was dead.
Okay. So Lolth would not be happy that she just showed up then.
No.
No. Okay. That's like the main thing I can think of is just to go over there and see if she's planning on doing anything to get her out of here. Because it's either that or just trying to go blast things with spells.
Well, you remember that Lolth does know she's here already.
Okay, that's true. God. And you were just saying something about the separationists probably not being willing to get their people down in the body to help at all.
Yeah, they probably don't want to get their hands dirty until it affects them directly.
Okay. Maybe I'll just go be mean to them again. I think that's the only other thing I can think of unless anyone has any other ideas.
Entreating Lolth to send some of the mages would probably be very helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
You could go ask mommy very nicely.
Okay. It's either going to ask mommy very nicely or bullying the Drow women into sending their soldiers.
That's up to what you're into today.
You know what? I was just there. Why not? Why not? Let's go ask very nicely. See what happens. God.
So
Oh.
the checkpoints over to where Lulf is, you remember the 3 checkpoints, they're
Mm.
much more heavily guarded now.
Okay.
It seems like everything that they have under control with the magical servitors are there to reinforce the front door. You
Okay.
do still get passage through. They recognize you as somebody important. So you're able to make your way through and into the parlor.
Okay.
Once again, one of the more senior mages leads you up the stairs and into Wolf's drawing room, more or less,
Okay.
where you see her in the middle of her chambers, apparently engaged in something. It looks like some kind of scrying ritual.
Okay. She will bow and, Goddess, if I may speak to you about of a matter of urgency with the city.
Of course, but please, no need for formalities. I am a humble high archmage.
I'm sure that you are aware that Kieran Sally is here. She has sent a bunch of exploding undead to come and attack the city, and I'm here to ask for the aid of the rest of the mages of the house in rebuffing her from the lower parts of the city.
I can understand why you might want the services of House Duet, but I have 2 counterpoints for you. One is much of the arcane efforts of this house is dedicated to ensuring that the sea does not collapse immediately on our heads.
Yes.
And 2, are you not a capable caster on your own right?
I am planning on going back down to aid in the efforts. I am just looking for reinforcements if possible. Mostly because I do feel as though any sort of aid you would give to city would potentially make them even more amenable to coming back into your fold, since it will be another example of how you have just continued to aid in keeping the city safe and not being both flooded and kept away from a bunch of zombies trying to overtake the city.
One of her massive spider legs
Oh god.
wraps gently around you and pulls you by the back very close to her,
Okay.
where she leans down to touch your face and she says, "You're so sweet. You're trying to bribe me with flattery and praise."
Is it working?
Let's find out.
Okay.
Let's roll your charisma.
Wow.
Woo! Okay. Alright. Okay. I guess I wouldn't. My brain is once again not working. Is there anything that I can add before I roll it outright? Is there any way that I could add something to it, just in case?
No, so Fate, you always get to do stuff after the fact. So what
Okay.
you do is you roll, see what it is, and then decide if you want to spend Fate points.
Alright. Shit. No! Oh my god. I rolled outside of my box 1 second. Everything has gone. Let's try this again. That was stupid. Alright.
Damn, you see Wolf Mummy and you're this flustered.
Okay. Alright, that's that's a +1, so a 5.
That does barely beat her 4.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so what is your last little honeyed words that push her over the edge? And it's like, yeah, I guess I could help you.
I would also be willing to do my best to put in some amount of favor, as I do have the ear of the princess, and I would, of course, tell him of the ways that you have helped the city. As well as we are planning on going down to check out the heart. And I can let you know what we find down there.
I do love a girl that is willing to follow direction. She pets your hair and tells you that she can't really spare mages. Send a couple of them, and she can send the arcane servitors,
Okay.
which she can equip with, like various magic wands.
Okay.
So you'll have some sort of magical troop, but they're
Okay.
not like
Yeah, it's not.
they're not capable of solving problems. It's like batteries of fireballs, more or less.
Yes. Well, it's better than nothing. Okay.
I will write that down as your contribution.
Okay.
Let's go back to Xastra.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would like to speak to Brash Vandal.
So Brash Vandal is in the thick of it.
Yep.
They have erected a few barricades that absorb some of the impact of the exploding zombies, and then they are just behind that. You see that Brash Vandal is there with, I remember, Mule Dirt Scratcher. So Brash Vandal, of course, is nearly 8 feet tall and is wielding a pair of very scary looking axes. And sort of clinging to the harness on her shoulders is Mule Dirt Scratcher, wielding a sawed-off magical stave, and is wildly casting random spells into the air. She has appeared to have nailed in or glued on some kind of grip, and is using half of a magic staff to randomly blast spells in various places.
I love it. And they're so good.
All right.
She takes a brief moment from the fighting to wave at you.
Yeah, I will join her on the line with my set of magical swords and yell over the din. Rushk sent me. Where do you need me?
Okay, so that's going to be your contribution to the line. And then I assume is fighting on the front line. Since you're a paladin, you have 3 magical swords.
Yes, I was also going to cast the spell Crusader's Mantle.
Ooh.
What does that do? That sounds sick.
Holy power radiates from you in an aura, awakening boldness in friendly creatures.
Oh.
So everyone is emboldened, and they also do radiant damage.
Oh.
So they're just gonna throw you whatever looks hopeless. That is probably going to be the warehouses where all of the wounded are, because it is a very large area, and now we have more wounded that need to go there. So you're going to be on one side, and Brash Vandal's going to be on the other.
Sounds great.
I was going to have you roll a thing, I think. Yeah, roll a thing. Roll your fight.
I was going to say.
See how good you fight.
All right. I am very lucky that I have been, over the last several sessions, shifting points up into strength because I have rolled a 0, which means I get a 4.
Nice.
Okay, 4 is pretty good. So things are going well against the heavily armored zombies. They're just zombies, but they have more armor on them. But you're, using holy swords of your order, so you, along with your paladin abilities, you're just cutting through them like butter. The people around you are having some more difficulty than you are, but you're plugging the gap really well. And you're able to keep the exploding zombies more or less at bay. And then the third type of zombie shows what they can do. They appear to have been resurrected or constructed in a way that is not typical of how you would expect a body to work. Their arms and rib cage compress and then expand rapidly, becoming targeted projectiles and spears of bone, as bits and bobs of them are rocketed at high speed at the defenders. They are apparently an extremely devastating and fast-firing, artillery zombie that just shreds through the barricades and defenders alike. So that's something you're managing down there.
Yep.
Is 3 types of zombies that are horrific and working in tandem.
Yay. Delightful. I love zombies.
Yeah, that's that's pretty sick, honestly.
Yeah, for real. Wild.
Rushk, go ahead. I believe in you.
Thanks. So, what was the guy's title again?
The High General?
High General. Rushk will grab the High General by the arm, force him out of whatever task he's doing, and stare him in the eyes and say, I will reiterate my point, High General. If you do not capture, this is not an if, this is a will. If you do not send reinforcements to the body, Daryleft will starve. Dereleft will then be... Furthermore, there are a great number of wounded in the body. Should the forces of Kiransili take that over, the wounded will die, and there will be a greater force of bodies shambling up into the embrace.
Oh god.
If you do not send everything to the body right now, you are sentencing Dereleft to death.
Okay.
And I will roll dexterity
Roll your
because I'm
charisma. Or your dexterity.
because I'm touching the guy.
Okay.
That's a 4. I rolled quite badly.
Oh, that's okay. I got a -3 on my rolls. So,
Nice.
yeah. You scare him more than anything. The idea of fighting even more zombies he gets reports of the artillery zombies is terrifying.
Yeah.
Apparently, Kiransili, as an extremely accomplished lich, is not just raising run-of-the-mill zombies, but she is creating undead designs that are tailored to destroying Dereleft.
Homebrew.
So her getting to the wounded and having a fresh supply of corpses, literally, is terrifying. So yeah, he agrees to lend forces down in the body. He changes the defense. He still believes that having the fallback choke points was important in the Silver Stair, but he does order the bulk of his forces down into the body to help the defense.
Nice.
So let's have Rushk browbeat the boys.
The boys.
So let's have you go ahead and check to see how things are going.
Me?
Somebody just roll the fate dice and +3, because all of your tasks, I think, went quite well. Let's see where the defense of Dereleft is at in the first phase.
All of us are rolling?
Roll, Daelia.
Just one person. Just one person roll. Yeah, make it
If it goes
Dahlia's
bad,
fault.
it's your fault.
1.
Is that with the +3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
wait. Yeah. Wait. Yes.
Huh.
Yes. I can do math. Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
Math is very difficult for this group, I'm discovering. So things could be worse. You're not making a ton of progress, but you're not losing anything either. The situation seems manageable right now if nothing gets worse.
Oh, of course.
Unfortunately, it immediately gets worse.
Yep.
Of course.
Rushk, you noticed this first as you were up with Du Bois, and therefore you were with the runners getting the various reports from the stations of Dereleft.
Uh-huh.
It seems that an entire second army has begun attempting to march across the walkways of the Embrace.
Second army, like not undead.
Army. An army of undead.
Okay.
These ones are more skeletal.
Oh,
They
what?
appear to have been older corpses, such that the flesh is completely rotted off of them, although they are
Yum.
wearing armor and holding weapons. Since you're a doctor and you're very smart, you're likely sure that while the corpses coming out of the water are perhaps people that died when Dereleft began to flood, the corpses coming across the Embrace are probably the remnants of all of the armies that attacked Dereleft during the lead up to the Second Sundering.
Woof. Boy.
So they're a motley group of things. A lot of them aren't human or drow. They're just various strange creatures. There are a couple of presumably indigenous life from the last world they were out at. There's the weird, vaguely elephant-looking skeletons that are stomping across the walkways in force. So the walkways were designed to be defensible against a superior force, but it is just an endless queue of skeletons pouring across the walkways.
So there's 2 walkways, right?
There's several.
There's several. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would it make sense to just straight up bomb the entrances to the city and just cut them off?
What I was thinking.
Okay.
You can do that, but then there is no way to leave Dereleft.
Yeah.
My plan was to bomb all but 1 or 2. First, I wanted to send some runners just down to the front forces so that they're at least aware of what's going on, can make informed decisions. But second, what I wanted to do was the person best suited for that would probably be Vajra, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to detonate a bunch of things, yeah, Vajra would very much help.
Okay.
That's the other thing is you do have access to various high-level characters who you can have them solve problems for you. You have access to Shiria, who's an extremely
Oh.
powerful divine caster. You have access to Vajra.
Wouldn't Shiria technically have Turn Undead?
Shiria would
It
have
would.
Turn Undead.
Okay. So we have someone with it. We have someone with the spell storm.
Yay! So, my action is I'm going to try and track down Vajra.
Okay. I can track down Shiria then.
And then Xastra. So you're knee-deep in the dead, literally. And
Yep.
somehow your efforts are going well. You kind of just like ping-pong between various defensive positions. Wherever it looks like the line is about to collapse, suddenly Xastra is there and things don't look so bad. Your swords are singing a battle hymn, which, since this is the Free Union of Peoples and not a lot of other Drow, they're actually chill with. They're like, wow, that sounds really nice. I didn't know we'd have a musical accompaniment to our deaths.
Oh.
And then eventually you see Brash Vandal mowing her way over to you. And she informs you that a runner has just reached her to let her know about a new problem. There are skeletons attempting to swarm over the walkways of the Embrace. She tells you that she can probably hold out here if you need to go somewhere else. So, what is your plan for assisting the new defense of Dereleft?
Oh God. All right. So is there something that I can do that will help here, and then I can leave?
Well, you can leave now too, because the soldiers from that the boys were organizing are showing up in groups to reinforce areas you've been fighting in.
Okay. I think I would like to solve this again with magic.
Okay.
I will cast for Brash Vandal the spell Holy Weapon,
Ooh.
which will make one of her axes glow with light and deal a shit ton of radiant damage.
Yeah.
And
You'd love
it
that.
is magical and holy.
Love
And
it.
then I will run off.
Okay. One of her axes takes on a divine sort of shape as the metal twists itself into a useful form for butchering zombies.
Mm-hmm.
She just decides to go ahead and drop the other one and instead uses this one. It's too shiny for her liking. She doesn't like how much it glows. But on the other hand, it does do a great job of cutting stuff in half.
Well, it doesn't glow that much because it's moonlight.
So let's have you roll your wisdom then to see how well this goes.
Wisdom and not charisma, which is my spellcasting stat.
Fine, use your fucking spellcasting. I don't give a shit.
I would like to spend a fate point.
Sure.
A Drow Paladin of Eilistraee. I would like to
course.
re-roll this
Oh,
Sure.
because I did roll a -4.
Woo!
Do not get Brash Vandal killed.
Yeah, for real.
All right. This time I have rolled a 0,
Okay.
which means I get a 5.
Nice.
Okay, that's pretty good. I think that's gonna count as a success for this area. So Rushk, you were gonna go get Vajra?
That's correct.
Okay. So Vajra is back up in the Sapphire Star. She is coordinating with more or less the defense of the Sapphire Star, which currently does not need defending, but you don't know.
Right.
So she's been helping them fortify the magical wards around the castle-esque structure. And so you find her in the middle of that when you get there. She's just drawing magic runes and stuff.
Sick. Rushk looks fucking miserable because she's had to do a bunch of running, and Rushk does not do well with physical exertion. So Rushk, catches her breath and just grabs Vajra by the shoulder and is like, Vajra! Or wait, would I call her Madam Blackstaff, I guess?
You can call her whatever you want.
Rushk is very polite with everybody. Madam Blackstaff, your services are required immediately. The High Guard of Dereleft has devised a plan to ensure the safety of its citizens from the encroaching army on the arms of the Embrace. I'm just lying through my teeth. We need you to drop the arms.
All of them?
All but 2.
I can do this. I'll do this right away. Where do you want me to start?
I'd say whichever force is the closest, work in a clockwise fashion. And then, is there a force here? Like, is there even enough people here to be considered a force?
In the Sapphire Star?
Yes.
This is where, like, a lot of what would normally be considered high-level adventurers are. So this is where, like, the strongest individual people are. But not a lot of them. Like, Taltry is here. Nyara is here. Nyara has a certain amount of divine power.
Okay. Nyara has how much divine power?
Enough. Like, Nyara can fortify a place.
Okay.
That does put Nyara at risk, but Nyara can, like,
Nyara
plug
would
a
have
hole for you.
to go to the place, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, alright, yeah. I assume Taltry doesn't have enough of a force that she would willingly part with it to supplement the defense of one of the 2 remaining arms.
Everybody she could part with, she already sent to the High General. So he's already put them to work.
Great, okay, yeah. Alright, yeah. Just, I'll inform Vajra to just move immediately, and I'll send runners to everyone to know what's going on, and I'm going to make my trip back to the High General.
Okay. This one is downhill, so it is not so bad. I'm not going to make you roll for Vajra, because Vajra is an extremely powerful caster. Vajra to drop the arms.
Under the guise
but-
of it being High General's idea.
As you're making your way down the stairs, you look out to see how things are progressing, and you notice that the raft is less of a raft and is more of a ship, or perhaps a small structure. It has been gathering bones and is slowly emerging out of the water, constructing itself into an ever larger thing. There are massive skeletal hands made of various bones pulling things out of the water and building a terrifying mound of undeath.
Great. Just an off the wall question. Will it ever pass below any of the arms?
No, unfortunately.
Damn. All right.
I like where you're going with this. No, she's not that dumb,
Sick.
unfortunately.
Is it under like any big stalactites, perhaps, or like anything like that?
So you could do something like that, but it's very, very risky because you remember the cavern is already
the ceiling
is
Even-
is probably dead. Fair
Even
enough.
dropping the arms is a little...
Even dropping the arms is a little risky because it is going to
Fine.
fall on parts of the body, which is an unfortunate reality of the
Fine.
situation.
Will also disturb the, like... It's a seismological
Structural
disturbance and
integrity.
the structural integrity of the walls.
Yeah.
It's a calculated risk.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a die or survive kind of situation.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So Daelia,
Yes.
you're going to go get Shiria?
Yes.
So Shiria she's in the embrace. She's already
Okay.
there.
Okay.
She is helping to move some of the casualties out of the body and to the upper levels.
Okay.
She apparently had the same idea that, people who are already not doing well, if they were to die, they would simply become more fodder for the attack.
Mhm.
So people that can move are carrying people that can't move. So she's in the middle of organizing that when you find her.
Okay. I don't know if that's a better idea or if having her concentrate on like the choke points that ideally we will be creating would be a better idea.
She is a very strong divine caster.
That's
so
true.
Her ability to repel undead is quite strong.
Yeah, okay. All right. Let's do it. Okay, so yeah, she'll just go running up to Shiria.
Daelia, thank goodness you're doing well.
You as well. I'm glad to see you're all right. I was hoping to get some assistance. I know you're doing very important work here, but I was hoping you might join me on the front lines for repelling some of the new horde that has shown up on trying to enter the city from a different area.
Yes, of course. The council charged the 3 of you with executive plans while we're in the Underdark. So of course I'll do whatever you need.
So I guess there isn't really any way that she knows what exactly Rushk is having the Black Staff do, but I think she would just kind of take...
I sent runners.
Oh, okay. So do we know which arms are being left up?
I would assume so, yeah. It's
Okay.
probably the
Probably-
arms.
Probably the ones on either side of where House Duet is.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Because you're not going to drop that one. That one's
Yeah.
probably fine. There's nothing coming across that, but
Okay, but the other one, there are things potentially coming across. Hello?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so then I would go with her that way then. I think.
Okay. So you go to help Shiria. You are a spellcaster in your own right. So
Yes.
between the two of you,
Lobbing fireballs.
you just find a way to stop or slow the advance of the skeleton horde. There are already some Drow soldiers there. Of course, they're guarding the checkpoints, but with two powerful casters, they find it much, much easier. And then you hear almost timed explosions. They happen very regularly, followed by, the crashing of tons of stone falling
Yeesh.
down to the bottom of Dereleft as Vajra begins detonating the arms.
Damn.
So
There he goes.
things are starting to seem hopeful, right?
Like how you're saying this.
You have the stuff coming out of the water under control. You have the skeleton armies coming across the arms under control, and things seem like it's going to be okay. And then, Daelia, you feel something drip onto your shoulder.
Oh no.
You
Is it seawater?
pull the clothing over and look at it, and it is a very black, ichorous substance. It
Oh,
is
great.
almost acidic
What?
or tar-like in its quality.
I look
And
up.
Of course, you look up to see what it could be. And descending from above on lengths of steel webbing
Oh my
are
god.
the most horrific creatures you have seen in the Underdark yet.
Oh,
Which is saying
boy.
something, because you've had a little bit of a time.
Mhm.
At first, they look like the typical abomination. And, not endemic, but, unique to Drow society.
Mhm.
A torturous fusion of spider and Drow.
Mhm.
But these ones seem even worse. These ones seem slimy somehow.
Oh,
These ones seem
God.
drenched in some sort of fluid. And as they descend, you realize that these driders are partially composed of this gelatinous substance. Their various
Oh god.
arachnid limbs are in fact fully animated by this goo. Their bodies are fused to it with
Gross.
this sort of tar-like substance that flows through them around them, and they are screaming in pain or terror or anger. It is hard to
Jesus
tell.
Christ.
As
Are they
the-
also undead?
Yes, these
Cool, okay.
slime drider descend upon
Yay.
the silver stair.
So is that a
Cool.
sanity roll or?
So now we're on to phase 3 of the silver stair. There are slime driders.
Great.
What do you want to do about it?
There's a part of me that just wants to just flamethrow all of this shit, but I don't think that that's going to be enough to take care of any of this. Oh, God, what else do we have? I don't. Please come back to me. I'm not sure. I'm thinking.
This is a question for everyone. You have slime driders now.
Oh,
What
this
do you
is
wanna do
everybody?
about it?
Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What is the slime? What is it? Well, what is it, like literal tar? Is it something flammable? Is it
Oh yeah, I guess what has it done to my clothes? Is it just
It's
melted them a
probably
little?
not something flammable, but it is caustic.
okay? So it's
So,
like an acid.
Yeah, these drider are
Mm.
probably going to fall apart in a few days, but while they are alive, they're going to cause a lot of problems for Dereleft.
Great.
Okay.
I'd love to see it. Oh boy.
The first thought that comes to mind is to either somehow dissipate the slime that's animating them.
Mhm.
Because fun fact, spiders' bodies work through a system of hydraulic pumps, basically. Their legs are little pumps for blood, which is why they run really fast and stop, and then run really fast and stop. So, if we somehow get rid of the slime that's pumping through them, either by increasing the acidity or breaking down the like the chemical bonds. That's
Ooh, bad
what
idea.
comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Rushk, I know of a substance that would help.
What would the hell? Oh, okay. I know what you're. I don't. Fuck.
What is it?
If
It's
you
a
become
secret.
completely
Oh.
unusable for this phase, and if you become
Oh,
completely
boy.
unusable for this phase and the next phase, I will let you have a fate point, and I will let you have an unidentifiable item that will defend against the slime riders.
Oh, no.
Sure. All right. I do that. I find a
Okay.
secluded place.
Oh, no.
So do you want to describe this for the audience? What you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So, Rushk is running through all the ideas in her brain. She's just watching these giant fucking driders descend from who the fuck knows where. There's the question of, okay, maybe Daelia could burn it. Maybe Xastra could shoot it with, the moonlight beam. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. But there's no, solid answer to it. And swearing, she, with her suitcase, ducks into an alley, makes sure that nobody is there, rolls up a sleeve, opens up the suitcase, sanitizes her elbow, jams a needle into her artery, and starts withdrawing blood.
Oh, boy.
On that arm, there are innumerable similar scars.
Oof. Oh, boy.
So eventually, a runner comes to Xastra and lets you know that there is a dispersing agent that Rushk has begun supplying soldiers on the Silver Stair with. And they need you to coordinate the repelling of these slime riders.
It should be noted that the runners multiple times stress that contact with the substance is extremely ill-advised, if not outright fatal.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I know how poisons work.
So they dip crossbow bolts in it, the little hand crossbow bolts. You just nail a slime rider with it a couple of times, and the causticness of it just goes to work. It mixes with the slime pumping through them and causes the entire thing to unravel. In horrific efficacy, as the spider bodies fall apart and the twitching, writhing, screaming upper halves of the driders flail miserably as their bodies begin to re-decompose.
Nasty.
I need to collect all of those vials once I'm done.
Oh, no.
Anything you didn't use is probably something you'll want back.
Yep.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
So, Rushk, you're out. You cannot help with the final defense of the Sapphire Star, and we have spent most of our other higher level characters. But now the construction coming out of the water has finally taken shape into its ultimate form, and it would be cool if it weren't something that is now attempting to kill all of you.
Yay.
The boat or tower has now revealed itself to be a ramp as a kind of launching off point for an enormous winged creature constructed entirely from bone and malice. Kiransley, from the dead of Dareleft and around Dareleft, has constructed a terrifying bone dragon, which roars and launches into the sky and begins attacking the Sapphire Star. Has a horrific breath weapon that it uses to launch this same sort of like blackish liquid that was part of the slime driders. It launches from its mouth, but it is a much more potent caustic form, and it melts the armor on people it hits, and it clings to their bodies and causes them to die in a horrible manner. It's not good for morale. So Rushk is out. Cannot help. She has overexerted herself. So that leaves Daelia and Xastra. There is a bone dragon attacking the Sapphire Star. What do you want to do about it?
I'm trying to decide just how bad of an idea it would be for me to summon a fiend in the middle of this to fight it.
You could do that.
I could do that.
That's within the level of power.
Yep.
A fiend plus Xastra could probably deal with it.
It's true. That is something that could happen.
I think I'll do it. I think we'll just see what happens. Unless anyone is particularly upset about this idea, I think I might just do it.
No, I'm okay with this.
I think you
Oh, and
should
I'm
do
sure
it
you
regardless of
are.
how anyone feels about it.
Well, no, I don't want to be a dick and, like, cause even more problems than we are already causing for ourselves. But I think that's kind of the whole point. Yeah, I'll summon a fiend.
That is kind of the whole point.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I can do a demon, devil, or Yugoloth. I guess devil probably would make the most sense.
Okay. So you draw out your little summoning circle,
Mhm.
as you can. And you
I'm
make
gonna
the
go into
proper
a little
offering.
corner. I'm gonna go into a little corner where nobody
Of
can see what I'm doing.
Of course. And you
Girls love their
beseech-
secrets.
You beseech the help of Severashro Downwell, the
Mhm.
Marchioness of Avernus, to who you have contracted with.
Yes.
And you hear her voice whispering to you through the summoning circle that she is sending one of her favorite lieutenants.
Oh boy.
And
Oh.
out of the circle comes a wolf of a woman,
Ooh.
an enormously tall and strong looking demon that you have never seen before, with a mane of black hair that stretches all the way down her back and hands that end in wicked talons.
Oh, good.
She is known simply as the Barghest.
Ooh.
She smiles quite haughtily
Ooh.
at you as she says, "Yes, little pet? What can I do for you?"
I beseech your help in fighting the giant, enormous bone dragon that is causing havoc right outside. If you please.
At saying enormous bone dragon, you're aware now that she has a tail as it begins to wag
Oh my god!
with excitement.
Holy shit!
Not listening for
Incredible.
any other commands.
All right.
She bursts out of the structure you're in, climbs up the wall, and jumps from rooftop to go battle the bone dragon.
You'd love to see it.
So Xastra, where are you? What are you doing?
I would like to find one of the various high-level casters we have to cast Fly on me, so that I can go fight this dragon.
Okay. You come across Vajra, who's, of course, finishing detonating the arms. She looks very tired, but she's like, "Yeah, okay, here, have this." And she hands you a ring that you can use to put Fly on yourself.
Nice.
Fantastic.
So you go up to fight the bone dragon, and as you start to get into conflict with it, you notice the furry shape of someone you've never seen before, but is radiating an evil aura, come flying up from the rooftops past you, landing on the bone dragon, and begins just tearing into it. So I think I will have the two of you roll probably Daelia, roll your charisma because you summon a demon, and then Xastra, if you want to roll your strength. Let's see how well you fight this bone dragon. Let's see how many casualties it causes before you bring it down.
Okay. 3.
Could I do the thing that paladins are known for,
Oh.
which is cast Smite Evil,
Cast Smite Evil? You can cast Smite Evil.
Oh boy.
which is definitely not just so I can argue to use my charisma instead of my strength.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
You would never do that.
Oh, never. All right, I'd like to spend a fate point.
Hey.
I will re-roll that using Drow Paladin of Eilistraee.
Nice.
Of course.
All right, that's an 8.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So 3 is a little low.
Okay.
It's pretty good. So I think between the two of you, it works quite well. The Barghest keeps the bone dragon distracted, more or less, while the 3 swords of Xastra Telarr slowly deal with many of the dragon's legendary dragon powers, including its breath, its horrific flying capabilities, and its very nasty tail. So with your successes, I believe you managed to keep damage to the Sapphire Star to more or less a minimum.
Oh,
At one
good.
point, the dragon crashes into a guard tower, crumbling it and killing everyone inside. But, that's the unfortunate reality of the situation you're in. There's an extensive damage to the whole of Dereleft, and many people have given their lives in defense of it. But thanks to all of your quick thinking, more or less everything is okay. Until you look back out at the water. And what you had thought was a ramp from which to launch a terrifying dragon is actually a horrific bone vehicle with Caranthely as its cackling pilot.
What the fuck?
An
Of course.
8-armed, vaguely humanoid figure, roughly the size of Dereleft,
What?
So enormous.
climbs out
enormous.
of the water
What?
and towers over it. Its arms gripping various parts of the chamber, others smashing down into the defenses you have so carefully guarded. This is the final phase of the defense of Dereleft. Caranthely has constructed a gigantic Gashadokuro bone mech that is now your problem.
Great. Is my fiend still up?
Your fiend is still up.
Okay.
Be helpful, but probably not going to do a whole lot against, again, a gigantic Gashadokuro bone mech.
Okay.
It has 8 arms,
Okay.
and it's just punching stuff.
Oh,
Slowly,
boy.
because it's quite large, but quite powerfully.
Can I see where Caranthely is in that gigantic mess of
Oh
bone?
yeah, that would make
Yeah, in the
most
head of
sense.
it.
Wouldn't it? Oh, nice. Okay.
Are you gonna
Well-
fucking 1v1 Caranthely?
Oh my God.
Can you do that even?
That was my plan.
Oh my god.
Whether or
Rest-
not I can do that is immaterial.
Here lies Xastra.
Look, everyone knows the weakest part of any mech is the pilot.
Yeah, right. The easiest way to
Probably.
kill. The easiest way to kill. It's just like fate. Easiest way to kill a servant is to kill the master.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know that we have many other options.
I think I'm still out of this. You're on your own, buddy.
No, I think you're back. It was
Oh,
out
am I?
of the.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
so.
Sick.
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
have recovered enough that you can help. You don't feel great, though. Gonna be
Yeah,
honest with
I-
you.
No.
I'm fucking miserable. Does that cause any consequences? Also,
No, I had you not be able to help.
Okay,
and,
cool.
So,
I'm gonna
role-playing
make.
consequences, yes. Mechanical consequences, no.
I'm very slowly going to make my way towards. Damn it! I was heading towards whatever his face, but yeah, I'm gonna make my way towards Nyara.
Okay, Nyara is in the Sapphire Star. Nyara is using his divine power to heal the defenders that were crushed in the tower that collapsed. Taltree is currently with him and is being his bodyguard.
So, Rushk stumbles in, looking like a dead body, basically. With everything going on, it wouldn't be out of pocket to assume that a dead body has crawled in here. But no, it's just Rushk, clammy, sweaty, and pale.
Oh.
And she'll shamble over to Nyara and Taltree and probably half fall and support herself on Taltree. Princess Nyara, forgive me for barging into your chambers at such an inopportune time, but I believe that your divine grace is needed on the front lines.
Rushk, what happened to you? You look so poorly.
Please, I appreciate your concern, but let's focus. On the front lines, Caranthely has shown herself finally, and if I'm not mistaken, the best chance we have is, although Xastra's actions may at first have been short-sighted, is it possible that now you could shoulder out her domain, weaken her in some way?
I don't think I can really do anything to her domain, but if we had somebody that could fight her, I could help them.
Xastra is presently directly on her way. Collision course, Rushk is like stumbling through her words and gesturing.
Oh.
I
That's
think
just gonna.
actually I'm trying to find where Delia is.
Oh, okay.
Could you empower Xastra?
Not for very long, but I could enable someone to swing with hopefully enough force to damage her.
Rushk nods and then looks up at Tall Tree. Is this agreeable?
Paltry is like grumbling things under her breath, which you are pretty sure are quite severe swears in Drow.
Yeah. Is this agreeable, High Protector?
If it must be, yes.
It must be. Send runners, send what you need to. I have other places to go. Rushk continues stumbling back out of the Sapphire Star.
No.
So, Rushk, you're stumbling out of the Sapphire Star and trying to stay on your own 2 feet. And you hit some debris, and you're about to go sprawling when a helpful hand takes you by the shoulder and keeps you from taking a dive. And then leans in close to whisper to you, we could take care of this, you and I.
Oh my god.
It'd be easy even. Just 5 minutes and I could make all of this go away.
That's exactly the problem. You would make all of it go away. Rushk will try and pry the hand off of her shoulder and keep going.
The hand never existed in the first place.
Oh
so
my god.
You wipe away malignant shadows and continue on your way. But the tempting offer is there. If you give in for only a few minutes, this problem could go away.
It is extremely tempting and ever present.
So, Daelia, where are you? What are you doing?
So, I guess since the demon's already out there, she'll probably just be attempting to do things that don't require concentration, but trying to sort of stay in the back lines so that she doesn't get hit by anything. She would probably at least have it be like harassing the thing, at least a little bit. But just kind of sort of staying in the back lines for now.
So it ties up one of the arms, right?
Okay.
Like she's slowing down the gigantic bone mech, the size of the city you're in. But it is also a giant bone mech the size of the city you're in. It's not really slowing down the damage.
Yeah.
And then Xastra comes running up to you. And Xastra, what did you want?
Delia, if you can put a hole through that skull, I think I can end this.
I could probably do you one better. Would I be able to use Dimension Door on her?
You want to just teleport Xastra in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay. Would you rather? Is that acceptable to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So range of 500 feet. So I guess we don't really necessarily know what's going on with Nyara doing things that could be helpful, but I guess
I think you were all going to catch up to each other.
Okay.
I'm not going towards them.
Here's the plan. Well, of course, not you, but I mean like Nyara and Taltrian.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So you only have about 500 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like a football field, 2 football fields.
I don't do sports.
And this is a thing the size of the city.
Yeah.
So
I have to get pretty close.
You will need to fight your way to it, and then you can teleport Xastra to the inside.
All right.
So around this time, Taltri and Yara show up.
Okay.
And Yara says, how are you addressed as a Knight of the Silver Hair, by the way? Do you have a title? Is it Lady Xastra?
I think it would just be Lady Telarr.
Okay, Lady Telarr. Yara says, I'm here to help you. I can give you an amount of the power that I have. I can, for a couple minutes, I can make it so that you can fight Kiran Silly, or at least get close to her.
Xastra will kneel and say, I would greatly accept this power, or graciously accept this power.
Okay. He says, okay, I can activate it when you get close enough to actually fight the whatever that is. And he says, and points at the bone structure. But it's very short. It's very short-lived. So whatever you're gonna do, this is just gonna be able to buy you a little bit of time. So this will
I
probably get you
understand.
close enough to be able to cast Dimension Door. But once you get in there, you're gonna have to do this on your own.
Okay.
So the two of you, Daelia and Xastra, go up to the Sapphire Star, and you use the Ring of Flight that Vajra gave you earlier. Although Daelia, you can cast your own spell. You don't need a ring.
We have
Begin
flight
to
at home.
fly out towards the giant bone mech.
Oh my
And
god.
Nyara channels his divine power into Xastra. And Xastra, for a moment, you are enveloped in moonlight that is not necessarily bright, but extremely dense.
Mm-hmm.
And it condenses into almost flames, blue light, that contort themselves and solidify into two massive fists wielding
Ooh.
a gigantic copy of your sword, as Xastra more or less becomes her own magical mech.
Sick.
Nice.
So you get into a punching contest
Nice.
with the Drow goddess of undeath. So I'm probably just going to have this be 2 rolls. One with your strength versus her, and then again when you actually get inside the skull. So
Yeah.
do it. Do your strength roll. Let's see how this goes.
Can I do an aid sort of thing? I never remember how this works. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter.
That would be creating an advantage.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be creating an advantage.
Okay.
So you roll a roll, I roll a roll, we see whether or not it becomes an advantage.
Okay.
Using your spellcasting, I'm assuming?
Yes. Okay. 3 again.
Okay. So I rolled a -3.
Oh,
because
okay.
Kiransley is an extremely powerful caster, that becomes a 3, so we tie.
All right.
So there is now an aspect, but you can use it against each other.
Okay.
That Daelia is helping you. So Xastra, go ahead and roll your strength, and then tell me what it's like while you're fighting this gigantic bone mech.
I get a 5 on strength?
She gets a 4, so
Nice.
Nice.
you're winning, but just barely. What does this look like?
I think wreathed in moonlight with a gigantic sword. She is
Nice.
effectively just dancing through the air trying to get up close.
Very cool.
Battering arms aside as they are swung at her.
So you're enough of a distraction that she's stopped wreaking havoc on the city and instead just trying to swat you as an annoying fly out of the sky. And Daelia, you're finally within range. You can begin casting the Dimension Door spell to let Xastra into the cockpit, if you will, to fight Kiransley.
Technically, I also go with her. This is fine.
So
Ooh.
there is a bony hand rapidly advancing towards your position. And so here's a choice you have. You can either abort the spell altogether and avoid the hand, or you can get hit by it and continue to complete the cast.
Why not? We'll just see what happens. Why not?
Daelia is getting hit by this.
Yeah, Daelia is getting hit by this. So the Dimension Door spell goes off. You get dragged through the ether into the spacious bone cavity of the mech. Daelia is just at the end of getting hit by this gigantic, swinging, colossal bone hand. So the momentum of it travels through the spell. And Xastra, as you make your way inside, you see that Daelia flies out of the portal and slams against the back wall of the skull.
Oof.
She's probably out. She's not going to be helping you. So you're standing on a shifting floor of, I don't know, tibias and femurs and stuff. And before you stands an incredibly haughty, pissed, and obviously deranged drow woman.
You love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
She's basically going to yell, Parentally, in the name of Eilistraee, I need to put an end to your rampage. And then she's going to charge.
Hell yeah.
I am also going to spend a fate point so that
Sure.
I can attack with all of my weapons at the same time.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's have you make a roll versus her. I got a 0, so the difficulty for this is going to be 10. You beat 10.
So with the first of her swords, it is a 5.
Okay.
I lost a die. Hang on.
Stop dropping your die.
I have no idea where it went. I'll have to use a backup set.
Okay, good luck.
All right. So for the second one, that is much worse.
Oh no.
And for the attack that she is making by herself,
Come on.
that is a 5.
Oh, nice.
All right, you got to beat a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going
Do
to
you
use
have
the free
any-
invocation on the whatever aspect.
Delia's
game.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a 7.
You got any of them fate points left?
I sure do. I will spend a fate point on Wielder of Song of Vespertine.
Nice.
Okay, so we're at
So
a
that's
9.
a 9. And
One more, baby.
Mhm.
Come on.
I will spend my last fate point because I started the session with 5.
Ooh,
Drow Paladin of Eilistraee, which makes
Okay.
11.
nice.
So it is though your arms are guided by the goddess herself. You can feel the presence of Eilistraee with you. In your brilliant cleave that slashes through the body of Caranthely and dispels her presence from the material plane. It seems that she was only tangentially anchored here, and it does not take comparatively a large amount of force to remove her. That's the good news.
Oh no.
Mhm.
Oh my
boy.
god.
Bad news
Oh boy.
is
Oh
you
boy.
and an unconscious Daelia are in a crumbling mass of bone
Yay.
that is rapidly dropping back down into the sea, swirling around a ruined derelict.
You love to see it.
What do you do?
Oh boy. All right, I'm out of fate points, so I can't do that thing.
You
Can
still
I?
have the fly ring?
I do still have the fly ring, but we are inside of an object.
Can we get out of it?
Well,
Can you?
Can we?
I would like to attempt to heal Delia enough that she regains consciousness.
Fair enough. That works.
Daelia, fix it.
That is within the abilities of a paladin.
Okay, so you use your lay on hands charge for the day.
Yep, yep.
Daelia, you have the world's worst headache. No one in the history of Faerun has had a headache as bad as you. Xastra is panically attempting to explain to you the situation, which is you are in a rapidly crumbling tower of bone that is dropping into the sea, swirling around a ruined derelict. What do you do?
Can I cast Dimension Door again to get out of here?
I don't know. Do you have casts of high level spells left?
Oh, I guess
And a
not.
fate point to make a declaration about things.
Yeah, you
That's
could spend a
true.
fate point. You could also
guess-
spend a fate point to say that the Barghest happens to be here.
Oh,
Whatever
that's
you'd like to
true.
do.
I guess technically I could also just use. No, well, because quid pro quo would definitely make things very interesting to get us out of this little situation. But
Daelia loves getting sucked, doesn't she?
I feel like about anything you do would be very interesting getting us out of this situation.
yeah, I think we'll probably. I think we're just gonna keep appealing to higher powers today.
I see that you're playing the sugar baby archetype.
It was not on purpose, but it definitely is what has happened.
It's great.
So, what is it that you say to entreat the power of your patron?
This is not out loud because we don't need to know. Xastra doesn't need to know who she's talking to. She is going to, Mistress, I beseech you to transport me and my companion out of this horrible helm of bone safely onto one of the arms, please, so I can continue serving you.
Xastra, Daelia does something. You're not sure what, but
I'm
the
just a wizard.
smell of sulfur and hellfire
I'm a wizard.
burns at your nose as something drags you through an uncomfortable space of horrific fire and deposits you back inside of Derelict. You're about to ask about this when next to you lands the massive fiend woman whom Daelia summoned earlier, who politely helps Daelia to her feet and says, "Will that be all?"
If you wouldn't mind waiting maybe 10 minutes just in case some other horrible thing comes out of somewhere, I think that will be all. Just wait a little bit longer if you wouldn't mind.
Her laugh is sort of a bark. She agrees to wait around for a few minutes.
Okay.
So do you all meet up back together then? Or do you go find Rushk? Where is Rushk?
Rushk is going to go meet the High General. I assume that he is still in the wherever that their house is, or is he on
moved
field?
down? He moved down to the Embrace to oversee the defense of the arms directly, the ones that are still, attached.
Cool. Yes, that was a very good plan on his part. Who all is with him?
So Vajra and Shirya should be there, as well as just his soldiers, because they've been hitting zombies with hammers and spears for a while now.
Right. Can I spend a feint point to declare I find him alone with a small retinue of his men?
Nice.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I'll stumble up to him and say, "Hi, General. Just the man I was looking for." Put a hand on his shoulder. Really quick, just before I commit to this. The boys are the ones that don't really want to get rid of oppression. They just want to be the oppressor, right?
They would love to be the oppressors. And to that end, they helped Celessa dismantle the power structures of Derelict that had been there.
Perfect. Hi, General. It is of the utmost importance. I need to see your blade.
Of course. What do you need it for? He says as he draws it.
I push it up into his skull. I push it through his throat.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it is quite fatal. It goes straight through the artery. It goes through his tongue. It lodges into his skull. And he is just sort of looking at you with a confused expression as his body falls to the floor.
Okay. If his men retaliate, I will proceed much the same as best as I can, just redirecting them into each other.
Oh my fuck.
I'll spend a fate point if I have to do that, or...
It is almost comical, but extremely depressing as they in turn draw arms and begin to swing their blades at you, and you step just so to redirect their swings into each other. And then with blades buried in the bodies of their comrades, they fall into a bloody heap at your feet.
All right. I think it looks a bit like a dance until the end where Rushk slips on her feet and takes a seat next to the general. She'll sigh and kind of pat his shoulder, assuming that he's still alive and bleeding out. And she'll say, "You did very, very well defending Derelict. I appreciate you following my orders. But unfortunately, I've been here long enough to get a vague estimate of the kind of idea that drives you and your men. And while I can't kill an idea, I can at least kill the people that hold it. It's very unfortunate that it came to this."
Incredible.
So that takes care of their vote, right?
More or less. So,
right.
Daelia and Xastra, where are you headed? What are you doing?
I think Daelia is very slowly shambling towards Taltree and the people in charge to figure out what the hell's going on.
I think I would like a short scene with Delia.
Oh boy. Okay.
And just basically going to look at the demon,
Mm-hmm.
look at you, and get close,
Mm-hmm.
and say quietly to you, "I don't know what kind of deals you've made, but I trust you know what you're doing. If you need help getting out, you can just ask. And then she'll walk away.
Oh my god.
Pulling a page from Rushk's book, I see.
As you walk away, the demon lays her hand on your shoulder
Mm-hmm.
and informs you that under the terms and conditions to which her contract is applied, according
Mhm.
to this summon and ongoing operations with
Mm-hmm.
the Nine Hells of Avernus, she is
Mhm.
required to inform you that
Mm-hmm.
if you wish to mount a defense of Daelia and Valsa, you are required to appear in person at the Court of the Nine Hells in Baator.
Oh my god. So she just
She
fucking
hands
outs
you a copy
Daelia!
of this. She hands you a copy of this in writing, and then turns to
Incredible.
Daelia and says, "All right, love, it's time to go." And Daelia and the demon disappear.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Wait, what?
You could have given at least me a chance to say I'm a wizard. Just one. Boy.
Incredible.
So, next
boy.
week, we will deal with the aftermath of the defense of Darelift, as well as deal with the trial of Daelia and Valsa.
Mm-hmm.
See you all next time.
Fuck.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, Daelia.
Bye.